So in this video, I would like to talk about now how we can maybe make sure that we accurately guess the correct foreshortening. So far, you learned how to accurately construct like a cube in two-point perspective. But you know, the problem with that is you always need your vanishing point either on the page or on the backdrop below as a reference. But at one point, because specifically when you only draw on the 8.5 by 11 paper, you need to be able to guess that perspective really well. And that's kind of like where we are getting into right now. At this point now, you should have enough drawing experience to understand how a somewhat believable or correctly foreshortened cube has to look. So let's take a look a little bit at the mechanics of how this technique works. So let's say I'm just drawing two lines, and there's my vertical edge. And let's say actually here I have my front face. Okay, so front line. So let's say I would like to draw a cube that actually maybe is on the horizon level. That's the easiest one here, just line left and right, because it's on my eye level. And then I can decide, for example, how big this object actually is based on how I draw those vanishing lines. And this is now where the tricky part starts. So you see that I first drew this line. I have a certain angle, and if I continue this line this direction and I continue this line, somewhere off my page they have to meet. So if, for example, now I would like to do the same on the other side. Let's say I make a 45-45 cube. Probably maybe something like this could work. There and there, and see, they already, the angles are different, so that's not really looking the same. So maybe this is a better angle. So you see already one of the problems with this approach is when you have to guess where your vanishing points are, it's really easy to guess the position of those vanishing points incorrectly. Let's actually do one more case and demonstrate even one of the other problems. So let's say we just have a cube. Maybe that looks like this. So going down, I guess they seem to have nearly the same angle. So in the middle and a little bit low. So maybe that's where my vanishing point would be. And then maybe sometimes we do stuff then like this. I do this really on purpose. So my vanishing point actually in this case here will be, whoa, what happened? Up there. So, and if I would draw a line from there to there, you see that this horizontal line is not horizontal. It's rotated. And that's because those vanishing lines we put down are not meeting on a horizontal line. So that's like worst case scenario. What can happen when you eyeball actually the vanishing points at different height levels? So that's kind of like the thing now where you have to get really used to. And a simple trick is just try to really draw loosely and then check and compare. Does it really feel right? So again, also here with the eyeballing, step one is establish the correct proportion. So for example, here I'm putting down just quickly by hand my vertical line, and then maybe my upper and my lower edge. Now I'm guessing kind of like the foreshortening. Okay, so looks like vanishing point maybe on that level. I can draw a line over, so I understand at least on this height level somewhere my vanishing point has to be. Let's say I would like to draw this one. I see more of the right side, less of the left side. So the vanishing point I have to bring in a little bit more, and that's another tricky part now because we don't really have the vanishing points. You kind of like have to guess things. I'm going to do some extreme cases as an overlay here. So let's say number one we do this way, and maybe one this way. And it's early morning and my drawings are a little bit crooked. Need more coffee. Okay. What did I do? It's actually off. It has to be down here. But it's okay. Let's keep it for the moment. So let's pick another color. Okay, so maybe here. So there and there. Oh, what did I do? There. So you see, based on where you put the vanishing points to, the closer you get, the more you get the correct perspective distortion. And now the question is now if purpley, the yellow one, if that really should be it, it starts to look more maybe, I don't want to say like a 45 obviously, but there is, it seems a little bit too flat, kind of like the angles. And maybe with the green, it's actually a little bit more believable. So it's really at a corner side. But then if that, with the green, if I would like that one, then maybe actually this should be more like maybe this. Yeah, see, it feels already much better. So maybe here, that's the edge. So the nice thing about if you also here start to work really loose first on a sketch page, you can quickly explore the perspective and the feeling. So there's no problem with putting down multiple lines and then exploring different foreshortenings till you find kind of like the look and feel of the cube you want. Because sometimes you also want something that rather looks like seen through a tailored objective or wide angle or kind of like something in between. And that aesthetic can quickly figure out this approach or through this approach. And then when you're done, put another sheet over it, trace it, and then you can continue working. So let's try to sketch a complete cube where we see three faces this way. We could maybe decide here's our front face. Okay. And then maybe I decide my top edge, maybe there, and maybe there. And now I have to kind of like decide the horizon line. So if this is maybe my horizon line, actually I see my vanishing points are on the page. So maybe then there, I put this one to there. So I kind of like touch my page way above this line. Okay, so step 2 now would be, you could go parallel, but then you have to dip this in a little bit. So you start getting the feeling of a perspective foreshortening. And obviously, the closer you bring the line to the upper edge, the closer you get your vanishing points onto the page. And for example, here, parallel and a little bit up. Okay. So, and the tricky part here is now you don't necessarily can see your vanishing point. So you have to really develop a good feeling for the foreshortening effect being done accurately. So this one maybe I erase just for a moment, and then I do this one more time, a little bit stronger. Whoops, wrong tool. There. Okay. And then let's start maybe guessing where's our cube. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then, well, where is now my rest? So it has to be probably be somewhere there and here, kind of like maybe there. So this is a little bit guessed. Yeah, it doesn't seem to look too bad. Okay. Because I showed you the first line I put down, and the next line I cannot put it parallel because then we don't have any perspective for shortening. I have to adjust the rotation, so I angle it in a little bit. And because our horizontal lines, sorry, our vertical lines never foreshorten, if, for example, we would like to figure out now where's the midpoint, where is a quarter point, I could, for example, now easier one first is do it this way. So from the midpoint there through the midpoint here, I draw another line. So you see now I cut it actually, so subdivided it. And I now I can eyeball this actually easily because those are verticals. So there and there, there and there. Yeah, and if I draw a vertical there, it's not 100% clean. You see, this one is a little bit too big, so this line here got a little bit too low. It should be more there. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. And this is a little bit squeezed, so maybe there. Yeah, okay. So that's, for example, then the way how without the vanishing points I can start subdividing my faces horizontally. I mean, not necessarily horizontally because it's still foreshortening, but those are kind of like horizontal lines. Vertically, of course, I can't simply measure these points because that area foreshortens more. So there I still then actually have to do this approach where I put down my diagonals and then I have my midpoints. Here actually now I have the correct midpoint, and then there I can go through and there and there. So this is actually going to be interesting to see if I do this and this. Yeah, actually I guess the midpoint pretty close. So you see that's another way how you can actually find the midpoints. There, yeah, okay. So that, for example, for then subdividing a space or faces when you do not have your vanishing points on your page. Another trick maybe could be this one. So let's say we put down a line and I put down my horizontal and my vanishing lines, same here. Okay, and maybe let's put down this and this. There's a cube. Okay, no, this cube is too small. I would like this cube to be bigger. No, I can't because, cone of vision, go up, and then draw this way because that's going to stress everything way too much. But actually, we could artificially zoom in, but we have to use a certain little trick. So what I'm going to do is simply, I'm drawing two additional lines. and you will see why actually I'm going to do this. Hold on, actually I'm going to make this on a new layer. So one line here, one line, ooh, one line there. And obviously I cannot actually use this line, because you will see what will happen. There. That thing looks pretty flat. So now actually I can make a bigger line, so there, and then actually connect this, and there, and there. So you see actually this way you can create yourself a small cube on your page, and then oh, I have to extend this one obviously, and then actually you offset actually the horizon line up and down, and where the horizon line, the upper one and the lower one, cut actually the paper edge. Those are the points then where you could make your vanishing lines meet. And in this way, kind of like you can accurately copy a small hand-constructed perspective cube and maintain that look and feel a little bit. You can see this one doesn't look too bad, and it's a pretty big cube actually for the page. It nicely, nearly fills it. So now I could create a new layer, and I'm just retracing it there and there and there, there and there, putting those lines down so I know where the vanishing points are. There, and one down. And then again, you know, we have to make our subdivisions there. So, oh, well, that's actually easy. In this case, I'm lucky because it's actually the paper midpoint. Not again, there. So, and then here's my other midpoint. There's the next one, and from there, let's see how this looks. Let's double check, and you see that doesn't necessarily work correctly, so be careful with this. So at least I can do it this way, and this way. There, and there, there, and there. Oh, this is pretty close. Okay, that's good. And then from here, zip. There, and zip. And there I have my new vanishing lines. And I think this is pretty much everything to some of the shortcuts how you could accurately try to eyeball a perspective cube. And ultimately, again, you see why at the beginning of the semester I said don't eyeball yet. You need to develop a feeling for how a proportional cube in perspective really looks to understand that actually your eyeballed version really will be okay, because otherwise if your eyeballed cube is distorted, then later your product will be distorted, and that's not really what you want. And I hope that through this process, as you saw at the beginning, that I just sketch out a cube, and if it's distorted, then I correct it till it feels good, and then I put another sheet over and then trace a clean version, and then I actually continue working on the actual product design.